one of the most important human needs is the need to be seen, to be acknowledged, to be recognized, to be celebrated as individual. And we have this need since we are babies. When we are seen, we feel loved, appreciated, celebrated, honored. When we are seen and the people that sees us, they mirror us and they express their recognition, we expand, we experience positive emotions, emotions that help us be in an empowered state. Therefore, as a mentor, we need to address this need as well. And one way of doing it is by mirroring. Mirroring is the practice of recognizing and seeing the other person, and doing this from a place of love, support, compassion, and desire for this person to expand and to become better and better. There is a saying that somewhere in an indigenous tribe, there is the practice of greeting each other. And this practice of greeting each other, it is like this. When two people meet, they stop in front of each other, and one of them is saying to the other, "I see you." The other person is replying, "Now that you see me, I am here." And then it goes the other way around. The other person says, "I see you." And the reply is, "Now that you see me, I am here." So when we see someone, we tap into the power of bringing that person alive, bringing that person into the human form. Mirroring is one of the most powerful practices that I have experienced as a participant, as a mentee, as a human being who was guided at one point by various mentors. And it's also one of the most powerful practices and tools that I love to use when I mentor people and when we mentor people in the work and in the approach that we have. Before giving you more details about mirroring and how to do this practice, I want to read a poem for you that will expand maybe the awareness into the beautiful parts that we have. This poem comes from the Sufi elder and sage Hafiz. Why just ask the donkey in me to speak to the donkey in you, when we have so many other beautiful animals and brilliant colored birds inside that are longing to say something wonderful and exciting to your heart? Let's open all the locked doors upon our eyes that keep us from knowing the intelligence that begets love, and a more lively and satisfying conversation with a friend. Let's turn loose our golden falcons so that they can meet in the sky where our spirits belong, necking like two hot kids. Let's hold hands and get drunk near the sun and sing sweet songs to God until He joins us with a few notes from His sublime lute and drum. If you have a better idea of how to pass a lonely night after your glands may have performed all their little magic, then speak up, sweetheart, speak up, for Hafiz and all the world will listen. Why just bring your donkey to me asking for stale hay and the boring conference with the idiot in regards to this precious matter, such a precious matter as love. When I have so many other divine animals and brilliant colored birds inside that are all longing to so sweetly greet you. This is the poem written by Hafiz, inviting us to look at each other's beauty, qualities, radiance. We are full of gifts, qualities. Our little actions, when are done from the heart, are little treasures, gifts for the world, for the other people. Every story is filled with beauty. So when we are in mentoring process and when we listen deeply to the person that we are guiding, when we are asking deepening questions, we are witnesses of a wonderful story filled with emotions, questions, struggles, hopes, insights, accomplishments. So as mentors, besides the practice of deep listening and asking questions, we are invited to bring forth also the power of mirroring. Mirroring happens when we listen to the story and we reflect back through our own filters, our own eyes, and more importantly, through our own heart. We bring back the nuggets, the essence, the beauty of the story. So sometimes in the mentoring process, after listening maybe for 10-15 minutes, or maybe even 1 hour of someone's stories, at the end we may offer the gift of mirroring. When a person will say something, will share a story about a wander on the land, about interacting with various beings and creatures on the land, maybe engaging with his wild side, or maybe with the more innocent, playful, or maybe more nurturing side. As a mentor, I am mirroring these qualities. For example, I may say, well, I hear the story of someone who got in touch with his wild self. Someone who started firstly wandering by being in the mind, not knowing where to go, and then deciding just to leave everything aside and just go with the flow and go with the impulses of the body. And I've heard in your story how being in this flow, something shifted inside of you and you became feeling more free, more embodied, more alert, more present in the surrounding, in the natural land. And I've heard how going with this energy inside of you, where you reached a place that felt magical, that felt right to you, and how in this place you manage to surrender to the land, surrender and lay down in the grass, maybe crying, maybe laughing, and how in this moment you said, I love myself, I am enough. So this is a piece of mirroring that I may offer to someone who would come to me with this story. And by mirroring, I'm offering the gift of the person, the gift of being seen. But at the same time, through my words, through my perspectives, I often give new perspectives. I hold a mirror for the person to see its story. Of course, the story is seen through my eyes, but I try to pay attention to the emotions, to the words of the person, to the insights that this person has, and then I offer the mirroring. So how to do the mirroring? Well, it can be a very simple practice, starting by repeating some words that the person said. Well, I've heard from you that you were afraid, but then you followed your intuition, you followed your body. I may repeat some words or some sentences that are important in the story. You said, I love myself, I am enough. So I'm just basically repeating what the person has said. At the same time, I may be more poetic and speak in metaphors and symbols and archetypes. And I may say something like, well, I've seen the story of a man who got back into his body, becoming a wild creature of the earth. So you see now that it's a little bit more poetic, more metaphoric, but at the same time, it adds a nuance, a flavor to the mirroring, bringing up imagination and symbols. Also expands the story of the person. So mirroring happens often at the end of the story, because I listen deeply, I ask questions, so I have a bigger perspective and a bigger image of what this person went through, and through the mirroring, I kind of add one more layer to the mentoring process. Often in our work, when we use this ecocentric approach, and people experience mentoring for the first time, they are deeply touched, they are deeply moved by the power of mirroring. They are deeply moved to be seen in such a deep way because mirroring is coming from the heart of the mentor. We are looking for the beauty of the story. We are not looking only for what is positive, but we are looking for the beauty that is in every part of the story. And we are loving the story. We are loving the person. We are loving their journey. And if we think of Poder's story that Sandra so beautifully shared it with you, we may imagine that Poder, in his wanderings, he was mirrored by numerous people. On one side, he was mirrored by the doula, the midwife, who saw his gifts, and she later on guided him. He was seen and mirrored by the elders who were storing, keeping safe, protecting his gifts, the cape and the bowl of water. He was as well mirrored and seen by the people who instructed him on how to use them. So when we are on our journey, life journey, being mirrored is so essential because it gives us understanding of who we are. We also feel loved and accepted and celebrated as human beings. And we receive also insights about who we are, our essence, and what we are meant to do. So these are a few words about mirroring, and we encourage you to offer this practice to the people around you, the people you're working with, young people, adults, elder, children, but also to your colleagues, friends, and people that you work with and interact with. And you will see how much you can contribute to the overall well-being of the person when you offer conscious, heart-centered reflections in the form of mirroring.